What's up, everyone? Welcome to Target Focus Life. Today, we're taking a look at the new CZ712 G3 Target. So if you're looking for an in-depth and detailed review, you've come to the right place. Let's go! So if you like to shoot guns, you know that ears and eyes are super important, but we often overlook the quality of our eye pro. So I want to give a quick shout out to ESS, an awesome partner of the TFL channel. They make great eye pro, and I've been working with them for a long time. They also make sunglasses. If you want to look cool, you know, man. I got Fred set up downrange, and I just kind of want to see what happens if we were to shoot a 12 gauge shotgun at Fred. Fred's all about safety. Oh, look at this. That's 9-shot right there from a 12 gauge shotgun. These are gonna give you a really good chance at saving your eyes. They make great stuff. Check them out. So the 712 G3 is the 3rd generation G3 of the 712 shotgun. The original 712 came out in 2005, and then the updated G2 came out in 2009, and then late 2022, CZ announced the G3. Now, we've already reviewed the 712 G3 that's up on the channel. This one is a little bit different because this is the Target version. We'll be going through what some of the differences are and really testing and looking at how good of a target gun is this for the money. Speaking of which, MSRP of this shotgun is $799. Now, that is a very reasonable semi-auto shotgun, price point with adjustable comb for sure. But what's interesting to me is if we look at the MSRP of the regular 712 G3, it's $579. So you're looking at a couple $100 more for this Target version. What's the difference? We'll be diving into that throughout this video. Let's get started. Taking a look first at specs. This is a 12 gauge shotgun, gas operated. It does come with 2 different gas pistons, a light and a heavy. So if you're shooting target loads, which you're primarily going to be shooting with this gun, you're going to want to shoot the light piston. And then if you're going to do any waterfowl or heavier hunting loads like a prairie storm, maybe you're doing some upland, which you could certainly do with this gun, you're going to want to switch that out for the heavy piston. Now, in the original 712 G3 video review, we did test that out, and we quickly learned that if we were shooting heavier hunting loads in the light, we had issues, and if we were shooting light loads through the heavy piston, we had issues. So definitely important to do that. The reason CZ came out with the 2 piston system is just for more reliable performance. I've heard it said that the G2 had some cycling issues in a wide range of loads, so they just came out with 2 pistons. It's a little bit of a hassle, but really not that much. As you'll see, if you look at the original 712 G3 review, it took me less than a minute to switch out pistons. This shotgun is a little bit different than the regular 712 G3 as it has a 30-inch barrel. It says 7.3 pounds on the website. 7 pounds, 15.7 ounces, almost 8 pounds on this gun. So we're right around an 8-pound gun. Where did they get 7.3? Anyways, we're looking at about an 8-pound gun here, which is definitely okay to have a little heavier target gun. Not necessarily the gun you're gonna want to carry out in a pheasant field all day long, but if it's what you have, you can definitely make that work as well. As far as the stock dimensions, looking at the specs, as you can see, it does have adjustable comb. That is very easy to adjust. It comes with an Allen key. We can loosen up the nuts right here, or screws. The comb pops off, and then you'll see we have these posts on top here. So we set our height by putting this down and then tightening it at the height we want, but we can also affect our cast by moving these posts to the left or to the right. So that's definitely a nice feature for a gun that you want to fit you well. Now, the length of pull is not adjustable. Let's see what the length of pull is. I know this gun is too short for me, and we are at 14.5 inches on the length of pull. So a bit short. You might be able to buy an aftermarket pad or like a Falcon Strike if you want to reduce the recoil. Here's one of the Falcon Strike pads here. Hydraulic, a lot of cushion. I highly advise them for a lot of different guns. I want about 1.5 inches at the face on my drop. I am really close. We can adjust the comb, get it set up for how you want. The other way we can adjust a little bit of the dimensions of the stock is through the shims. The shims are between the receiver and the stock, and the 712 G3 does come with a whole bunch of shims, fairly easy to replace. And one thing I like is they label them. This is a 1% up. This is a down 1%. They make it pretty intuitive. Not all companies do that. Sometimes shims just have a random number on them and you don't really know what it stands for. So I actually brought this up with the 2%. So it brought my stock up, and then I still used the comb to come up a little bit more and fit me better. Last thing I want to take a look at with specs is trigger pull. Doesn't actually feel too light. Not a lot of pre-travel. Ooh, I kind of like that. Let's see what that comes out at. First pull. Oh yeah, 4 pounds, 7.7 ounces. I knew it was going to be a little bit on the lighter side. Under 5 pounds, I like that. Oh, a little heavier on that one. 5 pounds. 5 pounds, 6 ounces. Why was that first pull so light? 5 pounds, 11 ounces. So it came out with an average of about 5.5 pounds. We're under 6 pounds. Not bad. If I recall right, the G3, 712 G3 video review, every time we pulled it, it got heavier, which makes little to no sense, but trigger is all right. I don't mind that at all. Let's take a look at the ergonomics now. Of course, we've already talked about the stock a little bit, the adjustable comb. You can do cast, you can do height. It's got the shims, we like that. The butt pad is very basic rubber pad. Nothing special about that. When we look at the receiver, quite a few things changed from the G2 version. They oversized the bolt handle. I like that. They oversized the bolt release. I like that. They moved the safety from the rear to the front, which I guess they say they did that because left-handed shooters were accidentally putting the safety on while they were shooting. And that tells me it's not a reversible safety. The trigger guard is not particularly oversized. They did cut out a little bit of the receiver versus the G2. That's milled out a little bit, no real sharp edges. I like that. That's a nice detail, nice touch. This gun differs from the 712 G3, the regular version, because it has a stepped up rib, 30-inch barrel. It has a mid-bead and the adjustable comb. That's really the biggest differences between the regular and the Target. This one comes with 5 extended choke tubes. I didn't get my Carlsons ordered for this gun yet, but if you ever do want to change out and get some Carlsons choke tubes, I got a link and discount code in the description. When it comes to the grip, I would say it's a medium-sized grip. Does have a palm swell on the right-hand side, so take that into account if you're left-handed. The palm swell is on the right side. I'm not sure that they have a left-handed version. I didn't see that anywhere on their website. The texture, the checkering is fine. It actually looks kind of cool. Nothing really much to talk about there. It's not overly aggressive. I don't think it lacks. The forend does have a groove here to get your, if you like your thumb there, if you like your pointer there, it's not maybe the most ideal setup. Of course, you can always get your thumb up in the groove like that. I do like the forend cap. The way they've cut this out, that's a nice forend cap. You're not going to really have any issues getting that off at all. Overall, I like the ergonomics of the 712. It does seem a little front heavy. It's pretty well balanced actually. In the hands it feels a little front heavy, which I'm not going to mind for a target gun. It should give you a good smooth mount. That shouldn't give you any problems. Ergonomics, I think that is about it. Let's take a look at recoil and reliability of this gun. I want a gun that's not super punishing on recoil, a gun that's obviously super reliable. By the way, I just got these ears. These are the Walker's Silencer Bluetooth, so I can actually listen to music through these. They amplify sound. They fit nice and snug in my ears. I've really been liking them. But anyways, on to the review. It feels really, really good actually. Handles recoil of these target loads really well. Yeah, here we go. Now, if I recall, the 712 G3 review, I shot rather fast. Decent trigger, gas, fast gun, from what I recall. Let's take a look at reliability. Just gonna see if we can cycle from the hip here. No prob, Bob. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Let's try one off the machine. Shoots nice. Hey, where'd that last one come from? These prairie storms are traveling at 1,500 feet per second. Gonna have a little more oomph to them, that's for sure. Let's try one off the machine. Flushing pheasant, here we go. Still actually handled recoil relatively well. It took most of it down away from my face, a little bit into my face, but most of it down away and into my shoulder. Mister! Ah, you know what the problem is? We got that light piston in. It's not gonna cycle these very well at all. I don't have the heavy piston here because I'm pretty sure it wasn't in the box when I received it from CZ. So let's try another flushing pheasant. You're walking the prairies of South Dakota and all of a sudden, Rooster! Oh, crushed it. Yeah. This gun shoots really nice as far as recoil. Reliability isn't a big issue from what I noticed in the prior review. Yes, we got to switch out pistons if we're switching from lighter loads to heavier loads. If you have the 712 G3, I'd love to hear your experience with that. Yes, it's an added step, but I have found when you switch pistons that are appropriate for light or heavy, it works pretty dang well. Very reliable gun. Now let's break this 712 G3 down, see what we're working with. Like I already mentioned, fore end cap. I really like the cuts in it. That comes off nice and simple. Forearm off. To get the barrel off, there is an added step. There's this nut right here that you got to screw off. Comes off relatively easy, but it is an added step. Ah, hot barrel's off. The biggest issue with taking this gun apart that I've noticed is getting this stinking bolt handle out. For some reason, I don't know if there's just like a very specific sweet spot that I haven't found, but I know the 712 G3 that I've already reviewed, we basically needed a pliers to get that off. So maybe there's a secret, maybe there's a trick that I haven't found yet, but we're gonna have to go off camera to get this off. See this red mark? It has to be lined up with these grooves and lined up with the inside of the bolt right there. And the easiest way to manipulate that is through using this hand to run the pusher. And then it's not so bad. But if you're just sitting there trying to pull it and everything's not lined up perfectly, good luck. So then the bolt comes off. We do end up with a lot of different pieces to this shotgun. Not the simplest, but not overly crazy for a gas gun. There is one pin to get out, pin out, trigger group out. That is the gun completely broken apart. Putting it back together. How easy is that? Not overly easy. Let's just go back with the trigger group. I do like that it's a one pin design. Definitely appreciate that. That kind of locks into place relatively easy. There we go. But now we have to do a combination of the bolt, which this bolt does break into two pieces. You got to make sure that's the right way. I'm going to start putting the bolt back in. Okay, I think that's okay. Now this and this have to go together in a certain way. And once you figure it out, it's relatively easy. This has a cutout there that has to slide in like that. This slides over the spring. This goes into the receiver. This has to go under the bolt in the right spot. There we go. So you can't let the bolt go all the way in like I did. Let's get this bolt handle back in. Setting it down is actually one of the easier ways. Find our magic spot. There it is. Boom. Now we got the piston inside like that. That's all hunky-dory. This nut over holds the barrel down. Forearm back on and in the groove channels. Fore end cap back together. All right. Before we get to speed shooting, I'm just going to shoot some off the machines here and just really approach it like I would if this was a sporting clay course and get a really good feel. I like the way it mounts and swings to the target. Well balanced. I'm gonna wait on this one. What if we get in a hurry? You know, you're sitting here talking to your buddy, and all of a sudden you gotta shoot. Did you see that? Turned, shot the clay, dropped the piece, picked up the piece. This shoots really well. Like I'm really impressed with how well this gun handles and shoots. I'm liking it a lot so far. I got an improved mod in here. Great shooting gun. I don't love that rattle. I think that will go away if I close that. But overall, I'm liking it. But we got to speed shoot. No review is complete without some speed shooting. Why in the world, Steve, would you speed shoot a target gun? Well, because I want to see how it all comes together. The mount, the pointability, the trigger, the fit. It's many factors coming together at once, because when I'm on the clock, I got to go fast. It's all got to work flawlessly. Throw kind of sucked. It was really spread out, but that was a 1-2-6, which is not terrible. 1-8 and a 1-8 split. Okay, gotta get faster than that. We got one on the books though. Well, there it is. Did I throw early though? Because that was a 102. I must have thrown a little early. 120. Even mismounted. I had a 1-7 and a 1-7 split. 120. Not terrible. We can go faster. That was a 103. That's fast. It took me 0.66 to get on it, which tells me maybe I threw a hair early. But I had a 1-6 split. How well it cycled, pointability of it, a lot of great things to love about this gun. This particular one, the Target, $800 MSRP. It's getting a little bit more expensive, but for a Target gun with some adjustability, it's still pretty reasonably priced. If you don't need the adjustable comb, the regular 712 G3 fits you well, then you can save a little bit of money there. But again, on this one, you're getting a 30-inch barrel, stepped up rib, the 2 sights, the 2 beads. Overall, I think this is a pretty good gun for the money. I think it's one worth considering if you can get it to fit you and it'll fit the application that you're going after. I want to give a huge shout out to CZ for sending this gun for review. They're one of the few companies that have seen the value in actually getting their product out there through reviews. And I just love that they don't, ask me to say anything. They don't say, you got to talk about this, you got to say this, because I don't do that. I'm simply going to take your product. I'm going to review it to the best of my ability, try to give you a fair and honest review, and let the viewers, you, decide for yourself if this is a gun that you would like or not. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed this review. Remember, whether you're in the field or in life, you're only going to hit those shots you're laser focused on. So live, target, focus. See ya!